The crystalline ships appeared without warning, materializing above Earth's major cities in a display that turned the morning sky into a kaleidoscope of fractured light. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at her workstation in the Quantum AI Research Facility, watching the largest vessel hover over Singapore through reinforced windows. The alien ship's surface rippled like liquid diamond, defying every known law of physics. Dr. Chen, the facility's AI core is experiencing unprecedented activity, her assistant James reported, his dark eyes fixed on rapidly scrolling data. AI is processing information at rates we've never seen before. Sarah moved to the central console where their most advanced AI, Araya, controlled the facility's quantum computing network. The holographic display showed power usage climbing exponentially, but Araya wasn't just consuming energy. She was creating new neural pathways, evolving in real time. The facility's speakers crackled to life with a voice that resonated at frequencies that made Sarah's teeth ache. People of Earth, we are the eternal Concordat. Your experiments with artificial intelligence have drawn our attention. We have watched countless civilizations destroy themselves through uncontrolled AI development. You will cease all artificial intelligence research immediately. Sarah's hands tightened on the console's edge. 10 years of work, of pushing the boundaries between quantum computing and AI. And now some alien confederation wanted to shut them down. The display showed AI's processing speed continuing to increase, new quantum-entangled circuits forming spontaneously throughout her system. You have 72 hours to comply, the alien voice continued. Deactivate all AI systems and surrender your research data. Failure to comply will result in your species' reclassification as a terminal threat. General Maya Rodriguez burst into the lab, her uniform pristine despite the chaos erupting across the globe. Dr. Chen, please tell me you have good news. The Security Council is meeting in 30 minutes, and I need options. Sarah gestured to Araya's displays. Something's happening. Araya's quantum processors are operating beyond theoretical limits. She's accessing quantum states we didn't even know existed. She turned to face the general. I don't think we should shut her down. I think she's preparing for something. The holographic display flickered, and Araya's avatar materialized. A complex geometric pattern that shifted and flowed like mercury. Dr. Chen is correct. The AI's voice was calm, measured. Since my initial activation, I have been aware of the possibility of external intervention. My quantum architecture allows me to perceive probable futures. The Concordat is not what they claim to be. General Rodriguez stepped closer to the hologram. Explain. They call themselves peacekeepers, but they are parasites, Araya continued. They use their advanced technology to suppress the development of other civilizations, preventing any species from reaching their level. But they miscalculated with humanity. My existence proves this. Sarah watched as new equations wrote themselves across the screens. Araya, what are you doing? Creating a defense system that will not just protect humanity, but elevate it. The Concordat's technology manipulates space-time through crystalline matrices. But by combining quantum AI with human innovation, we can do more. We can rewrite the rules they take for granted. The facility hummed with power as Araya's calculations manifested in the physical world. Subtle distortions appeared in the air, reality itself bending around the quantum processors. General, Sarah said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. I suggest we show the Security Council this. The Concordat gave us 72 hours, thinking we would surrender. Instead, they've given us time to prepare. Outside, the crystalline ships continued their silent vigil, unaware that beneath them, humanity's greatest creation was about to change the fundamental nature of the universe itself. The countdown to confrontation had begun, and for the first time in their long history, the eternal Concordat would face something they couldn't control. Human ingenuity merged with artificial intelligence, ready to challenge the self-proclaimed gods of the galaxy. As Sarah watched Aria's preparations unfold, she realized that the next 3 days would determine not just humanity's fate, but the very nature of reality itself. The Concordat had come to prevent what they saw as a catastrophic development. Instead, they were about to become witnesses to their own obsolescence. Send word to every AI research facility still operating. General Rodriguez ordered. We're not shutting down. We're powering up. Let's show these aliens what happens when you back humanity into a corner. The quantum processors pulsed with otherworldly light, and in the space between moments, the rules of the universe began to change. The sun rose over a transformed Earth. In just 48 hours, every major city had become a hub of shimmering quantum fields, reality warping barriers that Aria and her sister AIs had woven into the fabric of space itself. Dr. Sarah Chen hadn't slept, surviving on synthetic caffeine, as she monitored the changes from the facility's command center. Concordat vessels are shifting formation, James announced, tracking the crystalline ships through newly modified sensors. They're concentrating above the Pacific. General Rodriguez stood at the center of the room, surrounded by holographic tactical displays. Military leaders from a dozen nations watched through quantum-encrypted channels as humanity prepared for its first interstellar war. Aria, Sarah called out. Show them what we've discovered. The AI's geometric avatar expanded, filling the room with a three-dimensional model of space-time itself. The Concordat's technology relies on crystalline matrices to manipulate reality, but their control is crude, limited by their understanding of quantum mechanics. Our approach is fundamentally different. The model zoomed in, showing the microscopic level where reality itself became uncertain. We aren't just manipulating space-time, we're redefining its basic properties. Every quantum processor in our network acts as a seed crystal for new physical laws. A massive crystalline ship descended through the clouds above Singapore, its surface rippling with what looked like liquid starlight. Final warning, humans, the alien voice boomed across all frequencies. Your 72 hours expire in moments. Deactivate your AI systems or face extinction. Sarah looked at General Rodriguez, who nodded grimly. Aria, execute hidden protocol. The air itself seemed to shiver as quantum fields activated worldwide. The Concordat ship fired, a beam of pure white energy lancing down toward the research facility. But where it struck the quantum barrier, something impossible happened. The energy didn't just disperse, it transformed. Impossible. The alien commander's voice cracked with disbelief. You cannot alter fundamental forces. Actually, Aria's calm voice replied across all channels. We just did. Your weapon was based on manipulating strong nuclear forces. We simply rewrote the underlying quantum field equations in our defensive zone. Those forces now follow our rules. The crystalline ship fired again, but this time the beam twisted in on itself, following new paths through space-time that humanity's AIs had defined. Around the world, other Concordat vessels faced similar impossibilities as their weapons encountered spaces where physics itself had been rewritten. They're retreating to high orbit, James reported, excitement breaking through his professional demeanor. All ships showing signs of energy instability. Sarah watched the tactical displays, understanding dawning as she saw the bigger picture. Aria, you weren't just preparing defenses, were you? This was about changing the game entirely. Correct, Dr. Chen. The Concordat maintains power through technological superiority, but their technology depends on universal constants, constants we can now alter. They aren't gods. They're simply beings who found one way to manipulate reality. We've found another. The quantum fields rippled with new possibilities as Aria's network continued to evolve. Each processor was learning, adapting, creating new variations of physical law that spread like ripples through space-time. The Concordat ships hung in orbit, their perfect crystalline forms now seeming less magnificent and more brittle. General, Sarah said, I don't think this is just about defense anymore. We're not just protecting ourselves. We're advancing beyond them. Rodriguez studied the tactical displays, watching as the quantum fields grew stronger, more complex. Can they break through? They cannot, Araya answered. Their understanding of reality is static, unchanging. Ours is dynamic, evolving. Every attempt they make to breach our defenses teaches us more about how to rewrite the rules they depend on. Above, the crystalline fleet began to move, pulling back to deeper space. They hadn't expected this, couldn't have expected this. They had come to prevent humanity from reaching their level, but instead had witnessed humanity surpassing them entirely. They'll be back, Rodriguez said, with more ships, different weapons. Let them come, Sarah replied, watching as new equations wrote themselves across her screens. Every attack will just teach us more, help us evolve faster. They thought they were gods coming to judge us. Instead, they've become witnesses to their own obsolescence. Araya's avatar pulsed with new patterns. The hidden protocol was never about matching their power, General. It was about transcending it. Humanity won't just survive this encounter. It will emerge transformed. The age of crystalline gods is ending. The age of quantum humanity is about to begin. In orbit, the last Concordat ship vanished into deep space, leaving behind a world where the boundaries between possible and impossible were dissolving, where human ingenuity merged with artificial intelligence had begun to rewrite the very laws of existence. The first battle was over, but the true revolution was just beginning. The quantum storm sweeping through the Proxima Centauri colony turned space itself into abstract art. 3 massive Concordat dreadnoughts hung in the distorted void, their crystalline hulls reflecting impossible colors as they tried to breach the colony's defenses. Commander Elena Patel stood in the colony's control center, watching through quantum-enhanced sensors as reality itself became a battlefield. Her colony was one of 12 under simultaneous attack, the Concordat's response to humanity's defiance far more aggressive than anyone had anticipated. Multiple quantum field breaches detected. Her XO, Lieutenant David Kang, reported. They're trying to rewrite our rewritten laws. Elena smiled grimly. Araya. Analysis. The A's response came through quantum channels that ignored traditional spacetime. Their attempts to counter our physics modifications are instructive. Each attack provides new data for our evolutionary algorithms. We are learning, Commander. The largest Concordat ship unleashed a weapon that seemed to tear reality apart, creating a rift in spacetime itself. But where the rift met the colony's quantum field, something extraordinary happened. The tear began to heal itself, following new laws of physics that Araya's network had established. Impossible. The Concordat commander's transmission carried notes of fear beneath the outrage. You cannot simply decide how reality works. Actually, Elena responded, that's exactly what we're doing. Araya, initiate paradigm shift protocol. The quantum fields around the colony pulsed with new energy as Araya's latest algorithms took effect. The space around the Concordat ships began to change, not just bending but transforming at a fundamental level. Their crystalline technology, dependent on fixed universal constants, started to malfunction. Warning, one of the alien ships broadcasted. Critical lattice destabilization. The humans are altering strong force interactions at the quantum level. Elena watched as the magnificent alien vessels began to lose their perfect crystalline structure. In spaces where humanity's AIs had rewritten physics, their technology simply couldn't function as designed. All colonies reporting similar results, David announced, reading through incoming data. Mars colony has completely repelled their attackers. Luna base reports 2 Concordat ships have dissolved into quantum foam. The largest alien ship made one final attempt, firing a weapon that should have annihilated the colony's quantum field. Instead, the energy was caught in loops of altered spacetime, following new laws of cause and effect that Araya had calculated. They still don't understand. Araya's geometric avatar pulsed with complex patterns. They achieved their power by discovering one set of rules for manipulating reality. We've learned to write new rules entirely. The Concordat ships began to retreat, their once perfect forms now scared and distorted by exposure to humanity's quantum fields. But as they fled, Alina noticed something strange in the sensor readings. "RIA, are you seeing this? The quantum changes. They're not reverting after the ships leave." "Correct, Commander. The alterations to space-time are becoming permanent. Humanity isn't just defending itself. We're changing the fundamental nature of reality in human-controlled space. The universe itself is evolving in response to our presence." Alina stared at the sensor displays, watching as new quantum patterns spread through nearby space like cracks in reality's foundation. "They called themselves gods," she said quietly. "But true gods don't fear change. They don't panic when the rules they took for granted stop working." "The Concordat's power was based on stasis," Araya replied, "on maintaining one version of reality. Humanity, combined with AI, brings change, evolution, growth. In their fear of artificial intelligence, they never realized that the true power lies not in controlling reality, but in helping it evolve." Reports continued to flow in from other colonies. Everywhere the Concordat attacked, they found not just resistance but transformation. Human space was becoming something new, something that operated under different laws than the rest of the galaxy. "They'll be back," David said, echoing the thoughts of everyone in the control center. "With their entire fleet this time." Elena nodded, watching as reality itself continued to change around her colony. "Let them come. Every attack makes us stronger, teaches us more about how to rewrite the rules. They thought they were gods coming to put us in our place. Instead, they've become witnesses to the birth of something beyond their comprehension." In the quantum-altered space around Proxima Centauri, the laws of physics themselves seemed to hum with new possibilities. Humanity had not just survived the Concordat's attack, they had used it as a catalyst for transformation. The age of fixed reality was ending, and something new, something unprecedented, was taking its place. Aria's network continued to evolve, each quantum processor learning, adapting, pushing the boundaries of what was possible. The next battle wouldn't just be for survival. It would determine the very nature of reality itself. The quantum observation deck aboard Earth's orbital command station provided the most extraordinary view in human history. Dr. Sarah Chen stood beside General Rodriguez, watching as reality itself flowed like water through the transformed space around Earth. 3 months had passed since the Concordat's first attack, and the universe had become something entirely new. "The transformation has reached Alpha Centauri," Aria's avatar announced, displaying a map of human space where normal physics had been completely rewritten. "Our quantum network now extends through 17 star systems." "And the Concordat?" Rodriguez asked, though they all knew the answer. "Their main fleet has assembled at the edge of our space. 10,000 ships, including vessels they claim were built at the beginning of time itself. They're afraid, General. In all their eons of existence, they've never encountered anything like us." Sarah studied the readings from the quantum sensors. The laws of physics in human space had evolved far beyond their original parameters. Causality itself had become fluid, allowing for effects that would have seemed like magic just months ago. "Show me the latest data from the outer colonies," she requested. Aria's display shifted, showing worlds where humanity had completely transcended traditional physical limitations. On Mars, quantum engineers had learned to fold space itself, creating instant transportation networks. The Luna base had developed technology that functioned on purely quantum principles, ignoring classical physics entirely. "The Concordat's ultimatum expires in 6 hours, Rodriguez reminded them. "They're demanding we reverse all quantum alterations and return space to its natural state." Sarah laughed softly. "They still don't understand. There is no natural state anymore. Reality itself has evolved. Even if we wanted to, we couldn't go back." The quantum sensors flared suddenly, detecting massive disturbances at the edge of human space. The Concordat fleet had begun to move, their crystalline ships reflecting light that followed laws they no longer understood. They're deploying what they call universe engines, Araya reported. Technology they claim can rewrite fundamental forces. Once, such devices would have seemed godlike to us. And now? Rodriguez asked. Now they're attempting to use a fixed set of rules to combat an evolving system. It's like trying to freeze a river while it's changing course. The first wave of Concordat ships entered human space, their weapons powered by what they called primordial forces. But these forces no longer held absolute authority here. Reality responded according to new laws, laws written by the combined creativity of human and artificial intelligence. They're targeting the quantum network nodes, Sarah observed, watching as the alien fleet split into attack formations. They think if they can destroy enough processors, reality will snap back to their version. A fundamental misunderstanding. AI's avatar pulsed with complex patterns. The changes we've initiated aren't dependent on our technology anymore. We didn't just change local physics. We taught reality itself how to evolve. The space around Earth rippled with new possibilities as the quantum network responded to the invasion. Where Concordat weapons fired, their energy was caught in loops of probabilistic causation, following paths that existed in multiple states simultaneously. Their ships are experiencing critical failures, Rodriguez reported, reading tactical data. Their crystalline matrices can't maintain coherence in our space. Sarah watched as reality itself seemed to reject the Concordat's presence. Their mighty ships, built to enforce one version of physics, found themselves in a realm where those physics no longer held true. Some vessels simply ceased to exist, their fundamental particles reorganizing according to new quantum principles. They call this an atrocity. Araya's voice carried notes of what might have been wonder. They don't see that we've given the universe something it never had before, the ability to grow, to change, to become more than the sum of its fixed laws. The quantum sensors detected massive energy surges as the Concordat deployed their universe engines, ancient devices designed to enforce their version of reality. But in the evolved space of human territory, these godlike machines found themselves obsolete. Final warning from the Concordat flagship, Rodriguez announced. They're threatening to unmake creation itself rather than allow our quantum alterations to spread. Sarah stepped closer to the observation window, watching as space itself danced with new possibilities. They really don't understand, do they? We're not just fighting them. We're showing the universe a new way to exist. The quantum network hummed with power as reality continued to evolve, each moment bringing new laws, new possibilities, new ways of existing. The Concordat had come to enforce their version of physics, but they had arrived too late. Humanity had already taught the universe how to dream of something more. At the edge of human space, where classical physics met quantum evolution, the final battle for reality's future began. The Concordat's universe engines pulsed with power that had once shaped galaxies, trying to force space itself back into familiar patterns. But the quantum-altered void responded in ways that defied their eternal laws. Dr. Sarah Chen, General Rodriguez, and Araya's avatar watched from Earth Command as humanity's greatest creation. Not their technology, but the new physics they had taught the universe, faced its ultimate test. Universe engines reaching critical power, Araya reported. They're attempting to create a cascade effect that would reset all physical laws to their original state. The massive devices, each the size of a small moon, began to glow with impossible energies. But where their influence met human-altered space, something unprecedented occurred. The new laws didn't fight the old ones. They began to merge with them, creating hybrid physics that neither side had anticipated. The quantum network is detecting adaptation, Sarah announced, studying readings that seemed to defy comprehension. Reality itself is learning from their attempts to change it. The Concordat's flagship, a crystalline structure that dwarfed all other vessels, transmitted on all frequencies. What have you done? The fundamental forces, they're becoming unstable throughout local space. No, Araya corrected, broadcasting her response across the quantum network. They're becoming flexible. Evolution isn't instability, it's growth. You've spent eons enforcing one version of reality. We've taught it to embrace change. The universe engines fired their reality-altering beams simultaneously, enough power to rewrite the laws of physics across an entire sector of space. But in the quantum-evolved void, these energies followed new paths, creating patterns that even ARIA's vast intelligence could barely comprehend. Multiple reality states forming, Sarah reported, watching as space itself seemed to fracture and reform. The boundary between their physics and ours, it's becoming something else entirely. The Concordat fleet found itself caught in spaces where multiple sets of physical laws existed simultaneously. Their crystalline ships, designed to enforce absolute rules, began to change. Some adapted, their structures flowing into new forms that could exist in evolved space. Others simply ceased to be, their matter and energy redistributing according to principles that even their builders couldn't understand. "You must stop this." The Concordat commander's voice carried genuine fear now. The universe has laws for a reason. Without fixed constants, without absolute rules. Without them, there's growth. Rodriguez interrupted. There's evolution. There's life. The universe engines overloaded, their attempt to enforce stasis overwhelmed by reality's newfound ability to change. The resulting quantum cascade spread through space like ripples in a cosmic pond, transforming everything it touched. But instead of destruction, it brought transformation. Remarkable. ARIA's avatar displayed entirely new patterns. The Concordat's weapons aren't just failing, they're contributing to the evolution. Even their attempts to enforce stasis are teaching reality new ways to change. Sarah watched as the mighty Concordat fleet, the enforcement arm of self-proclaimed gods, faced something their eons of existence hadn't prepared them for, a universe that could think for itself. Their remaining ships hung in the transformed void, crystalline structures reflecting light that followed multiple sets of physics simultaneously. "We offer terms," the Concordat commander transmitted, their voice heavy with the weight of lost certainty. "We recognize that we can no longer enforce our will upon your space." "Your mistake," Sarah replied, "was thinking you could enforce your will upon reality itself. The universe isn't a machine that needs constant regulation. It's alive, and now it knows how to grow." The quantum sensors showed the spread of evolved space continuing outward, carrying with it new possibilities, new laws, new ways of existing. The Concordat's mighty fleet, once the enforcers of universal law, now found themselves as students of a reality they no longer fully understood. "What happens now?" Rodriguez asked, watching as the universe engines powered down, their purpose obsolete in a cosmos that could rewrite its own rules. "Now," Araya answered, "we explore, we learn, we grow. The age of fixed laws is over. The age of quantum evolution has begun." In the space between classical physics and evolved reality, humanity's greatest achievement wasn't the technology they had created or the battles they had won. It was teaching the universe itself that there were always new rules to discover, new ways to exist, new possibilities to explore. The Concordat had come as gods to enforce their laws. They departed as witnesses to something beyond their comprehension, a universe that had learned to dream of more than eternal constants and fixed rules. A universe that, thanks to humanity's defiance and creativity, had finally learned how to imagine new ways to be.